We're at the tipping point right now with Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. It was reported over 30 days ago that Joel Embiid would have to have yet another knee surgery because of all the inflammation in his knee, all the swelling, and just basically discomfort. Joel Embiid came into the season limping. Now, this is very interesting because he's been dealing with injuries throughout his entire career. The reason why this is so concerning and so interesting, this is a man that just recently got a contract extension. Not only just that, he was dealing with a knee injury last year. Against the New York Knicks, they made the playoffs, but Joel Embiid did not look right in that series. Joel Embiid took a couple of months off. He went to the Olympics with Team USA. Now, the 76ers, they were not comfortable with him doing that. Those reports have come out. They pay him to go out there and win championships for their franchise. They don't pay him to go over there and win gold medals. But Joel Embiid looks at it from this standpoint. I have an MVP. Why not go over there, win a gold medal? My knee may heal on his own. So you're playing on an injured knee. As a 7-footer that weighs a lot, Joel Embiid is a heavy human being. He goes over to the Olympics, not fully healthy. They win a gold medal. We fast forward to this season. The same knee that he was dealing with last year, he's dealing with that same problem now. But now it's worse. He's only played in 19 games this year. And in 4 games in particular, I can name to where he looked out there and he did look dominant. He went out there. He gave you his all. He'll get you 30 points a game. He'll go out there and get you to 15 rebounds. But he couldn't do it consistently because as the games were on and as the games are back to back, you will see that Joel Embiid is not the same. He can't slide on the defensive end. He can't go out there and pull up from 3. We look at Joel Embiid. We're used to this man going out there and pulling a hesitation move from the top of the key and going straight to the rack. That's not Joel Embiid right now. And I said this 2 weeks ago. I'm going to say it again. Sit him down. Don't play him anymore this season. And I think the 76ers have gotten that message because last night against the Brooklyn Nets, he did not close out that game and they lost against the Brooklyn Nets. But you know what? It is what it is. You want to protect Joel Embiid from himself because I do believe that they should trade Joel Embiid sooner than later. They should have did this a year or 2 ago. And you may call me crazy because he's such a great player when he's healthy. And that's the key here. When he's healthy, he's barely healthy. Joel Embiid is phenomenal. A great player when he's on the court. But we've seen Joel Embiid over and over again in the playoffs, in the regular season, just freak injuries. Back injury, knee injury, stomach injury, elbow injury, sinus fracture to the face. He's just ran into bad luck. I like Joel Embiid. But I can tell you guys this right now, and this is based off of history. This is not just my opinion. Usually when big men are dealing with knee problems, when they're dealing with foot problems, they don't get better. He's 30 years old. You may not get top value for him. He is injured right now, but you can move off of Joel Embiid. You're not going to win a championship with him. The 76ers, they have tried to do it. And I don't want to hear where they can run it back for one more season. They may have to because they brought in Paul George for the next 4 years, but it's more than just that. This is the problem. You've tried 3 different head coaches up to this point. Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, Nick Nurse. You haven't had an Eastern Conference Finals appearance since 2001. That is 24 years ago. And you have had great talent with this roster. Remember, many years ago, trust the process. The process is dead. You had Ben Simmons. That didn't work out. That wasn't on the organization. That was on Ben Simmons because he did not want to develop a jump shot. He did not want to develop the offensive side of the game. Ben Simmons, very good defensive player at that time before he hurt his back. But his confidence was fractured when he passed up on that wide open layup. Against the Atlanta Hawks, he was never the same. And you have Doc Rivers come out and saying, I don't know if he's going to be a championship point guard for us. The writing was on the wall. So you bring in James Harden. The James Harden situation, it was actually a perfect fit. You have him and Joel Embiid, the pick and roll. When Joel Embiid is out for games, it's the James Harden show. Let him go out there, let him ISO. He looks like prime James Harden with the Houston Rockets. But yet again, Joel Embiid could not stay healthy. You get James Harden off this roster because he hates Daryl Morey now, a man that he was very close friends with in the past because he wanted his money. Now he's with the Clippers and he does look solid. You have Tyrese Maxey, who has been phenomenal. In my opinion, their best player. Tyrese Maxey this year, it's been unmatched. I know that he's missed games, but he's been Mr. Consistent. 27 points a game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 45% from the field. Him and Jared McCain, that's the future backcourt for the 76ers. That's the future with the 76ers, not Joel Embiid because he can't stay healthy. If he could stay healthy, he could be one of the best players in the NBA. And we saw him when he was able to stay fully healthy for majority of a season. He won league MVP. But since then, we haven't seen prime Embiid. And I'm tired of hearing people say this that cover the NBA on a close basis. Man, if Joel Embiid's able to stay healthy, we get prime Joel Embiid, we may never see healthy Embiid again. Because every time you do surgery on him, it's not the same. You can ask any athlete, the body is never the same. And I'm worried because he'll be 31 years old next season. You gave him this contract extension. Any team in the NBA right now, they would take on Joel Embiid, but you need draft capital. You don't own your first round pick this year, so you really should tank for the rest of this season. You should sit Paul George down also if he's dealing with an injury, who I'm really about to get into in the next couple of minutes. And you may ask yourself, how did they not own their first round pick? They traded with the Oklahoma City Thunder a while back. This is a top 6 protected pick. So if they land within the top 6 in the lottery, you're golden. If you don't, you're screwed. That means the Oklahoma City Thunder, they will own your pick. And it seems like the Thunder, they're about to own everyone's pick in the NBA up to this point. But I look at the 76ers, man. How did things get so bad so quick? Because you had Embiid, you're trying to maximize that window. He wasn't able to stay healthy. Ben Simmons, that entire situation. James Harden, how things went sour. You had Tobias Harris. So many 76er fans that were cooking to Tobias Harris, and rightfully so. But Tobias Harris did more for the Sixers than Paul George has done this season. Tobias Harris was a better player, and he did little to nothing in big moments with the Sixers. At least you're making the playoffs with Tobias Harris, and he'll give you 1 to 2 threes a game, and he'll play okay defense. Look at Paul George. Paul George has become a cone on defense. He doesn't have the same burst anymore, and he's making $212 million over the next 4 years. He just had 2 points a week ago. 2 points. You could have paid Tobias Harris half of this contract. He would have at least gave you 4 or 6. And Tobias Harris, he was pretty much just a role player. And that's what Paul George is. I'm trying to be nice here. But Tobias Harris, he was terrible. And then you had the Jimmy Butler situation. You had him on this roster with Joel Embiid a few years back. The championship window is closed because your big man can't stay healthy and you don't have the right pieces. And I will never forget the infamous clip of when Jimmy Butler's walking with the Miami Heat. He said, they picked Tobias over me. They picked him over me. Yeah, they did. Now, it's a bad decision then. You know what else is a bad decision? Bringing over a guy that doesn't give a damn about basketball anymore and Podcast P, because that's what Paul George is. He's not this top talented player that he once was for the Oklahoma City Thunder and what he was for the Indiana Pacers. Paul George has been one of the most disappointing players in the NBA for years now. You look at him with the Clippers, and I do understand Kawhi Leonard went down with so many injuries that was unfair to Paul George, but they still pay him like a top-end player. And what did he do in the playoffs? He flamed out. And just because he will give you a good game once or twice in the series does not mean that he's a good player in the playoffs. We have seen this over and over again with Paul George. Paul George has been a major letdown this season for the Sixers. They wanted him to come in and be that third option alongside Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. They're not even asking him to be the number 2 option, just a number 3. And when Joel Embiid is out, be the number 2 option every now and then. He went from averaging 22 points a game to now averaging 16 points a game. He has only played 37 games this season. And he came out 2 weeks ago and he said, you know what? I don't feel the same. I don't have the same burst. For one, Paul George is a terrible fit with the 76ers. It's not working out because he isn't going to the rim like how he was with the Pacers, like how he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I will say this, we will never get that Paul George with the Pacers ever again because of that leg injury. I understand that. But can we at least get a Paul George that can give us 20 points? Paul George hasn't done that with the 76ers in over a month. In over a month, they're going to be owing him $57 million in the next couple of years. And you can't even give them 20 points in over a month? You only had 15 points against the Brooklyn Nets and 7 rebounds. The defense is not there. The athleticism is no longer there. And the passion isn't there. This is the same Paul George that wanted to be treated like Kawhi Leonard when it came into talks about him getting a contract extension with the Clippers. For the ones that don't know, he went deep into his podcast with this one because he's a better podcaster than he is a player. He said that he wanted a no-trade clause and he wanted a 3-year contract. And when the Clippers weren't coughing that up, he ran over to the 76ers because they were desperate, because they wanted to completely make sure that the window was still open. They shouldn't have signed Paul George. And they should have traded Joel Embiid a long time ago because of these injuries. Your best ability is availability. It's time for them to take a complete 180. Go with Tyrese Maxey. And I know that Jared McCain, he got injured early in the season, but he was looking very good before he got injured. Keep him around for sure. And he's on his rookie deal. Have him, have Tyrese Maxey. You can have Kelly Oubre around. He's a decent player. I like Kelly Oubre. Eric Gordon, get him off this roster. The same with Kyle Lowry. Also, get these expiring contracts off this roster. I know that it's easier said than done by moving on from Joel Embiid, but you have to do something to secure yourself for the future. And when I look at the Paul George contract, I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to keep it real. No one's trading for Paul George. A man that's in his mid to late 30s is making this much money. You have to probably attach a first round pick or two, something that 76ers should not be doing right now. So sit him down for the rest of the year. Let him focus on his podcast. Sit down Joel Embiid. Let him get fully healthy and see if you can run it back next season. But even if you can, I don't know if they're better than some of the teams in the Eastern Conference. I look at the Cavaliers. They're a juggernaut. The Boston Celtics, they just won a championship over the Mavericks just 8 months ago. They're a very good basketball team. So I'm looking at the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Even if you're fully healthy, I don't know if you can compete with them. I look at the New York Knicks. The Knicks just knocked them out the playoffs last year. And you have the Indiana Pacers and you have the Milwaukee Bucks. So I am worried about the 76ers and their future. Their future is dark right now because of the contract with Paul George. And they're not going to move off of Tyrese Maxey. That would be terrible to do. You may just have to eat the luxury tax and just eat it straight on with Paul George and Joel Embiid, but at least do something for your future. But this entire trust the process movement is dead. It's over with. You don't have a coach that you could blame right now. I do feel for Nick Nurse because Nick Nurse, it's hard for you to go out there and build a solid rotation when your star players are in and out of the lineup. And he has done an okay job, in my opinion, when Joel Embiid has been out. It's only so much you can do when your superstar is out. And Nick Nurse has won a championship with the Toronto Raptors when Kawhi Leonard was there with Pascal Siakam, with Kyle Lowry, with Fred VanVleet. That's the only reason why Kyle Lowry is with this roster, by the way, is because of the connection with Nick Nurse. It's time for him to retire because he was an absolute cone with the Miami Heat with his last 2 years. So I look at the Sixers right now. It's better for you to go out there and protect yourself for the future than being stuck in purgatory right now in the NBA. Tank out the rest of the season. Hopefully the lottery works into your favor. Try to draft you a big man or move that pick for some more picks in the future and see what you have truly with a team that's built around Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. And I will also bring this up. They made a huge mistake by passing on Jason Tatum to go with Markelle Fultz. And I understand there was a lot of conversation that went behind the scenes. It's a lot of rumors that came out that the Celtics are saying, hey, you better go with Markelle Fultz because we're going to go with Jason Tatum. We're allowing you to move up. But at the same time, the 76ers, they could have went out there and said, you know what, we're going to go with Jason Tatum. But if they had Jason Tatum on this roster right now, they would be better off. I don't know if they would be a championship caliber team, but they would be better off. Because you have Jason Tatum. That means that you would have never signed Paul George to begin with. And I don't blame them going with Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz was a very good player coming out of college. This is a man that forgot his jump shot, lost his confidence. Blink twice if you've heard that before with Ben Simmons. Forgot how to shoot, lost his confidence. But Markelle Fultz was a different situation because he's dealing with a shoulder injury. I want to see the 76ers go out there and really build this team around Tyrese Maxey and see what he really has moving forward. But when I look at Paul George and Joel Embiid, something has to give with this entire organization. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the 76ers and their future? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.